Well, hello there, guys, and welcome to our stream here of Hammer of the Scots. This is actually a board game that has been brought to the digital screen, of course, and allows us to enjoy this board game right here, right now. Now, we are a bit early here, so I'm going to give people about 5 minutes to actually get in and join up with our stream. Hope you guys are getting ready to show up. Let's just go ahead and put here a warning. Let everybody know to show up in about 5 minutes from now. Let's just go ahead and put here a... All right, folks. Welcome aboard. So we will start in about 5 minutes. We're just going to wait here and let some people join up. That's our let us know to get started on the stream button right there. Hello, Lorenzo Federizi. Good to see you, my friend. So guys, we're just going to do a short intermission here for everybody to get here. Just an intermission. We'll be back in 5. I'll probably start somewhat earlier, but don't let anybody know that. Hey, you're Uniting Summer. Very cool. Very cool. Good to see you. I recently restarted my Twitch channel, and Uniting Summer decided to start by. Thanks so much, Arturo. All right, guys, I'm going to shut off the mic. We'll be back very, very soon. Hope you guys are ready for some War of the Scots. Well, hello there, my friends. I see no reason why we can't get started getting rid of Edward Longshanks and his dirty armies out of Scotland. But let's jump right in here, guys, and take a look at Hammer of the Scots. I do want to give you guys just a very basic update on what's going on with this game. I'm currently working as the PR manager here for Avalon Digital. We're also working in conjunction with the developer Columbia Games that created a board game based on this very title. And this board game is quite a popular one, of course, based on the Scottish Wars of Independence, talking about not just William Wallace, as we know through Braveheart and movies like this, but also about Robert the Bruce, and also about Edward Longshanks himself. So if you decide you'd like, you can absolutely play as the English in this game. We're not going to be doing that today. We're going down the road of William Wallace. Now, there is also multiplayer in the game, and I'm pleased to take a look at this because we've actually got a multiplayer lobby where you can create games, have your friends join you, etc. Currently, this multiplayer system has to be achieved through the Steam platform, so we recommend you guys take a look there. Enough banter on my part. Let's jump in and take a look at the campaign, boys. Now, as you can see here, these campaigns, there's several different ones. The Braveheart campaign, of course, covers the rebellion of William Wallace, whereas the Bruce really focuses on King Robert the Bruce and his fight for freedom. Now, as you can see here, the Scottish nobility was reduced after the Battle of Dunbar to abject servitude and humiliation. But in the ashes of defeated, two courageous young men rose to continue the fight against the tremendous odds. William Wallace had turned brigand in 1294. His murderous guerrilla war against the English culminated in the sack of Lanark in 1297. Suddenly, the invincible English looked invincible no longer. Meanwhile, Andrew de Moray, a young knight from one of Scotland's major landowning families in the north, launched a bloody uprising in the Highlands. It's characters like Andrew de Moray that we don't really hear about much. We certainly hear a lot about William Wallace and the Bruce. That being said, friends, we are going to get started here. Let's jump right in, and the game is actually going to begin. Now, we are playing as the Scottish side, and soon I'm actually going to show you William Wallace's tile here, so you can see specifically where he's playing from. Now, we've got a few different cards here we can play. The Herald one is actually quite new to me. The Victuals one allows us to distribute 3 steps amongst friendly blocks in one group. So that would be one of these groups over here in these regions. But what I'm going to do is take the 3 card. Especially early on in the game, I find the ability to move around is going to be very important. And one thing that's very important in this game, if we look up here at the 11 and the 3, these are the victory points of the game, but they rely entirely on the nobles that we're able to capture. So essentially, if we can beat some of these British nobles in a fight, they may actually come over to our side, to the Scottish side, and ultimately support our choice for king, which I would guess would be Robert the Bruce even this early on. Now, that being said, we are going to be playing with William Wallace, and there's his tile right there. We can see that unlike a lot of the other characters on the map, Wallace, Douglas, and Barclay have power of 4. So they actually have 4 chits here on top, a strength of 4 compared to a typical strength of about 3 when we go down to forces like Galloway. That being said, we've got to get started, and I can't think of a better place to attack first than on the fields of Stirling Bridge, right there. Go straight for the Battle of Stirling. Now, we can go for a second move, or actually a number of different moves here. We have 2 moves left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Moray's forces, taking a bit of a risk here going north. And I'm thinking I'd really like to move Galloway here with the Bruce, and that is Robert the Bruce's tile right there. So let's go ahead, get Galloway over here. We're leaving Bootle open, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but let's hope it all comes to pass in the end. Let's take a look here, guys, and see what the British are going to do. Now, let's keep in mind they have 1 move, but they have sent a reinforcing army here to face Wallace, Douglas, and Barclay. We better hope that we come out on top. Now, Wallace is going to get the first attack, and one really good thing about him is even if he rolls a 3 and under, he'll still get a hit. A lot of the other actual, forces that we work with, they roll a 2 and under, and that's the only way to get a hit. But Wallace is a bit different. He's a fighter. So here we go, a 2, a 4, a 3, and a 1. That's going to be for sure, hopefully at least damaging them significantly. It really depends who he decides to go for. But in this case, he's gone for Northumbria and Menteith has run away from the field. So has Northumbria. Man, it's such a good feeling to see the British fleeing in terror from our mighty armies, and Wallace certainly enjoyed that. Now, the regroup ability is a really nice one because this would allow us, for instance, to maybe take one of these units and leave them in Fife to defend this area while we carry on with the rest of our army. But I'm going to want to take this army around a little bit more, to be honest with you, and I don't necessarily want to waste moves merging them together again. So I'm going to keep them here in Menteith, and we're going to have our big battle all the way up here at the Castle of Dingwall. And I hope we come out on top, of course. Now, we've got 2 regular generals here, Moray and Fraser, but it looks like he's taking off, doesn't want to get into a fight, and probably with good reason. To regroup our forces in Ross, I'm actually going to send one of them to Inverness. I want to make sure that it's defended against the enemy, although this could bring the British troop to actually attack us in an attempt to take some advantages from the fact that we only have 1 army in the area. So now we get to go ahead and play yet another card, I've not seen the Herald card, so name an enemy noble, not Moray. Roll a die to convert him to your side at a current strength 1 to 4. So 5 to 6 would be a failure. Let's see. I mean, this would be quite interesting. Let's go for it. We're going to play the Herald card, although I think... yeah, you know what? No. I'm going to play movement cards this early on. I just don't trust it. I think movement is most important. Let's take a look here at the chat. So these are... Franciscus is asking about why we call it blocks. So this is based on wooden blocks on a play table. In fact, we'll take a look here at the map to give you a better idea of essentially the history of this game. So let me go ahead and play the 3. I do really want to play that Herald card, though. But I think we have a better chance here. And if we want to be really brave... You know what? We don't even need to be brave. I've got an idea. It's going to be the Wallace and the Bruce fighting alongside one another. Let's watch this. Let's go ahead and take Douglas, Wallace, and Barclay. In fact, I'm going to leave Barclay behind. We're going to take Wallace and Douglas over here. We're going to go to Bothwell Field. And we're going to take Galloway and the Bruce and go right here to Bothwell Field in Lanark. This is going to be a hell of a fight if the British decide to actually fight us. Now, that's 2 movements. We still have another movement here. And I think... I kind of feel bad for moving this character up to Ross. Now I'm thinking we should have brought him down. Do we risk Moray in an attack like that? I don't think we do. I'm actually going to move Moray over here to merge once again with Fraser. We should have just kept him here. Now, he's not actually merging with Fraser, but he could be in the same stack once we move to another area. Here we go. And once again, the forces over here getting into Lennox. Let's take a look at the Battle of Lanark. We get the first attack, but I'm still a little worried. Here we go. Wallace firing. And it looks like he's only going to get 1 hit. That's a pretty awful showing there by Wallace. So we've got Dunbar down by 1. And once again, Stewart managed to get a hit on Douglas here. Now what happens is once we get a hit here, as you can see right now we can roll 4 dice. Once this character moves down, we'll only be able to roll the amount of dice in that particular line once he takes damage. And I have to say the British are performing pretty well here. I'm kind of surprised. They're doing quite well. Another attack. Now we're going to have Douglas go ahead and fire. I still believe he can do it. Now he does get 1 hit here. And Galloway and the Bruce are going to be getting some hits too, but I really hope Wallace can merge one out. And C3, he's still able to take on the British. This is a very close battle, though. Very close. And it looks like the British are deciding to run off the field. Now, how great would it be if we could destroy Northumbria and potentially get Northumbria to actually join our side? There's 2 outcomes. There's him being destroyed and him joining our side. In this case, he has been destroyed. It's just a Northumbria infantry unit, essentially. Give me 1 second here, folks. We'll be back in about a minute. And we'll take a look here at the blocks setting as well. So just to give you guys an idea, a lot of people are asking about the blocks, etc. If we just zoom out here and take a look at the actual field of play, we can see that this game was based off of, or actually a remake, really, of a board game. So you can see the wooden table back here. We've got a nice sort of Scottish background, I think, right here. And, of course, the deck of cards. So it is indeed based off a board game. Now, we can regroup our units from Lanark. I like to think it was a victory, but I would have liked to capture some additional English nobles. So I'm actually going to move Douglas up here to Stirling, and I'm going to keep the rest of the actual army right here in Lanark. From Lanark, we can actually reach out to a lot of different areas here to strike the enemy, so I think it's certainly worth it. Let's go ahead and play the Herald card. We see the British moving into Dundee, trying to really strengthen their forces here in Angus, and moving in all 4 at once. That's a heck of an army there. Certainly not one we're going to be able to take on easily. So we can name an enemy noble, not Moray. I guess we're just going to go ahead and name him. And, oh my goodness, Lennox has joined our side. So we do have Lennox actually part of our side now. Unfortunately, we can't move him. He very well may get in a fight here and create a battle. Now, I'm thinking in this situation, the best thing to do is to retreat, see if we can potentially save him. As long as he's got an escape, he should be able to retreat. So I'm going to move him in here to the stack with Douglas and Barclay. And I am ready, guys, to just take this army and smash into Dunbarton if that's what it's going to take. It looks like, however, the British are really massing up over here. It's surprising me, actually. They don't typically mass up like this. Now, the winter turn is coming, and this is one of the best times in the game to really reinforce your armies, etc. End of campaign winter turn. Let's see if one of the developers can explain to us why the game ended there. Now, that's another thing to mention, is there are other games here. Hey, Texas Spirit and Dave Zizou. There are other games created by this company, so definitely as they're mentioning there. But for some reason, our campaign ended there. So we're going to have to jump back. Not sure why that's happening, but again, keep in mind, guys, this is still very early access. So there's still a lot of work to do. We're going to jump back to main menu. I'll take a look here and see if the guys can figure something out. Ah, interesting. When both players play a special card, the year ends. Is there any way to get past that to continue, or does that mean the game is over here? Yeah, we'll save just in case, and then we'll head back to main menu. Let's take a look perhaps at the Bruce's campaign, or we could start again with William Wallace and try to get some instant victory. So let's jump back into the Braveheart campaign. I'm sure some people are just now arriving, so we'll have to take a look at that. Okay, let's jump in here. So once again, guys, drawing cards, and this time I think we'll take less of a mass attack approach and more of a just moving armies, like armies of 2 and 3, to see if the British won't go ahead and fight. Now, I love this pillage card, by the way. This allows one enemy group adjacent to a friendly group to take 2 hits. It can be really helpful when you've got a particular enemy army that's causing you a lot of trouble. In this case, though, we're just going to go for the good old-fashioned 3. Be able to actually move our army. Another thing I should mention is that whoever draws the highest card or plays the highest card does move first. In this case, we're going straight to Stirling. I love me some good old battles at Stirling. So let's jump right in there with Douglas, Barclay, and Wallace. And let's also go ahead and I'm thinking I'm going to try to lure Ross into a fight by just sending a single army and not overwhelming him. Well, that just seems to be too nice to me. No, what we're going to do instead is we're going to go to Badenoch. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I actually didn't know until the stream yesterday, or excuse me, until the stream on Monday, where Badenoch essentially was the most, I guess, pro-royalist or pro-English of the areas, the regions here in Scotland. There's actually a character known as the Wolf of Badenoch, sort of very, very buddy-buddy with the English crown. So we want to be careful there, and I'm also going to take a bit of a risk here in Buchan to have a bit of a smaller fight. I'm hoping they don't have a hero unit there or a French knights unit there, which would make them quite a lot stronger. But it does look like they're going to give us battle here in Menteith. Also, the Battle of Stirling. So here we go. Let's fire, and that's going to be 2 hits. Not too bad. 1, 2. So we've got Northumbria taking hits, but we've got to keep in mind that Northumbria does not represent a lord. It's just Northumbrian infantry. Nonetheless, they got off the field just as quickly as they could. We can regroup our units, and again, I would suggest if you're playing this, maybe leaving one at Fife, but we're going to be a bit different here. I really want the ability to just move out from this location to multiple different locations. Another thing that is interesting to mention, and I'm not sure that this is something that is currently in the game, but it's certainly part of the game, and that is that if you manage, for instance, to get an army over here, get an army over here, and get an army, you know, let's say Carrick, pretty much not allow the forces of Lennox to retreat, or not allow the forces of Carrick to retreat, then that army is automatically destroyed if they try to retreat. We're not going to have that situation here as far as I can tell, but that is something that can occur. So the next battle over here in Badenoch, and we're facing John Comyn. This is quite a good fighter. He's a bit of a hero to the English. That's going to hurt. Yeah, that's really going to hurt. Now, I could keep fighting or retreat here. I'm really tempted to retreat, especially since we're facing a 4. But I'm a stubborn fellow, kind of like William Wallace, so let's go ahead and let's attack. We actually got 2 hits. Now, again, I would not recommend you guys doing what I've done here. We did get 2 hits. They're very lucky hits, and that might not be followed up over here with Fraser. Now, we got 1 hit here with Fraser, and this is amazing. If we actually got John Comyn to stick around, we could take him prisoner, and of course, make him a Scottish noble. Now, it looks like he's going to run over there. We've got to regroup our units from Badenoch, and I'm not going to make the same mistake I made last time. I'm keeping these guys together. They fight well together. They're going to need each other eventually, so let's make it happen. All right, England gets to attack first here, and Buchan is going to get the first hit. No, that's definitely a retreat. We're going to retreat with Grant and just get off the field. I don't think I need to tell you guys, but pretty much when you retreat, that's it. You know, you've now lost. We'll get over here to Strathspey, and hopefully we can stay out of the enemy's way for just a little bit. Now, the pillage ability, I want to go ahead and play that for you guys because I love this card. And we're actually going to pillage Lanark. Now, the reason being is that he's got a lot of units here. We can actually hurt that army quite a lot. But another option is to pillage maybe one of these smaller armies, knock them down by 2, then we know we have an advantage for the next fight. That's another way to look at it. Me personally, I prefer to go for these massive groups and deal some damage there. So you can just imagine our forces going out here, burning down any of these villages that might be a little too pro-English. Let's keep on moving here. Snake Eyes, he says, referring to the 2 1s. Chase Murray says, "Go Scotland, makes me proud," and what I mean by that is I am part Scottish. Very cool. How's it going, Dave? Good to see you. We've got a channel administrator here, Dave Jiju. All right, so we actually can take... No, I think that's it for hits. We've given our hits. I wish we had one more, but we simply don't. So yeah, we're trying to resume, but we're not able to resume here. Let's try the same... Well, here we go. We'll jump back into that load game and just hit the resume button. We might try the same campaign that we did before. That worked out just fine. But I do want to try to resume our game. Maybe we'll also give you guys a taste of the other side. Give you guys a taste of the British side right here. So here I'm trying to resume Grant, but it's not, yeah, it's not doing anything. All right, what would you guys like to see? Do you guys want to see the Bruce campaign, or would you guys like to see from the perspective of the British here? And again, like I said, that's completely your choice in this game. You don't have to play as the Scottish. It is called Hammer of the Scots, but what you may not know is the Hammer of the Scots is actually Edward Longshanks, a British guy, so, and a British king, to say the least. So whichever one you guys would like to see, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Just let us know in the comments. Francisco Spunator says, "I play as the Scots." I'm sure you do. Arturo Cavallo would like to see the Bruce's campaign. So we'll take a look here at the Bruce's campaign, and let's jump into the new game. Go to the Bruce. Now, of course, if you guys want, you can do the complete campaign at any point here. We're going to start with Scotland here in the Bruce, and just hope that we do fairly well. I want to jump in here, and again, if you just want like a shorter campaign, all of these campaigns do take a relatively, short time. It's not an extremely long game. I'd expect like 1 or 2 hours, but the Grand campaign really gives you the fully rounded experience. Now, the truce button, I like this one too. Pretty much, the opponent can move, but they can't actually attack us. This is good if you're feeling a bit weak to go ahead and play the truce card. Give your men time to merge together and create some decent armies here. But I'm actually going to go ahead and play the 2 card here. All right, so we've got the king right there, and of course that's going to be the Bruce himself. We've got Douglas and Barclay over here with the king. You can see that the actual armies here, or the location of these armies, can be somewhat different. But one important thing to know is that at the end of the season, so when winter ends, all of these nobles go back to their original houses. Now, that's not the case, obviously, if they've switched sides, but in most cases, the Bruce is going to go back to Carrick, and of course, we're going to have Campbell going back to Dunbarton, things like this. Now, right now, we're going to take the Bruce and Lindsay over here. What I really want to do, although I know I shouldn't, is I want to split these 2 up, have one go over here and help Steward, and have the other one go ahead over here and face Galloway. And I'm just not sure that's such a good idea. But you've got to take risks every now and again, so here's what I'll do. The Bruce is 4. Well, then again, risking the Bruce this early is not necessarily a good thing. Let's do it. We'll run if we have to, and Lindsay is 3. We're going to send Lindsay over here. We still have 1 move, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not going to leave anyone else over here to head to Stirling. I'm just going to take the King and Douglas, and I'll leave Barclay behind. I'm almost certain the British will want to retreat from that location instead of actually facing us in battle. While we're at it, let's take Buchan. And no. Shame on me. Have we already done our 3 moves? No, we still get 1 move. But it looks like Buchan cannot move in this region. We're going to keep him here. Let's take Athol. We could also decide to be peaceful. What we're going to do is just merge him over here at Mar and take this army next turn and move into Badenoch if we have to. Of course, Badenoch being a central point for a lot of the Royalist forces. So here we go. And of course, they're going to defend themselves at Stirling Bridge. Yeah, that's got me a little worried if they send any more forces over. Now, the battle at Galloway is what's got me really worried. Now, we are facing just a 3 force. He's just got 3 chits. But we now are also only have 3 chits. So this is all about lucky dice rolling. That's going to be 2 hits right there. Not bad at all. 1, 2. And it would be great if the Bruce could turn Galloway right here. And there we go. He's off. He's run away. He won't participate in the rest of this battle. He's going off to Annan to lick his wounds. Now, I don't really necessarily want a unit over here at Galloway. I'd actually prefer to have him closer to the center. So I'm pushing the Bruce back up. And that's one of the abilities we get here after a battle, is to, of course, move those units. Now, the next battle to resolve, it's going to have to be battle at Stirling. Let's go, King. Roll 2 and a 3. Now, even though he's not William Wallace, he is a king here, so he does get the 3 hit, of course, not just the 1 or the 2. And again, the enemy retreating with a Scotland victory. I love it. I mean, so far we're doing quite well here just at holding the center, but if we're unable to take any of those enemy nobles, we don't necessarily gain the points we're looking for. Now, as for regrouping my units from Menteith, I think this is actually a pretty good time to have some even armies. So I'm going to go ahead and have 2 here, 2 here. Seems to be pretty fair to me, and we can, of course, move them as we need to any of these spots around us. So if the British decide to get stronger here at Athol, or they decide to go to Argyll and try and create a larger army, we can immediately move over there fairly quickly from any of these 3 spots. So let's go ahead, select the next battle to resolve, and it's going to be Lanark. And already Westmoreland getting a nice hit on Lindsay. I might have to run away from Lanark here. In a situation like this, yeah, I'm going to run. I know I maybe should have stuck around, but I think that's just going to be the correct move here. Let's retreat Lindsay over here, and we're going to retreat Stewart over to the Bruce. Turn 2 of 5. I really do want to try that truce card. I've never actually played it, but we don't currently need it right now. Hey, how you doing, J-Jax? Welcome aboard. Oh, interesting. So Grant Dalglish, and guys, just so everybody understands, Grant Dalglish is the developer here for Columbia Games. And he's letting us know that the Bruce scenario is more akin to like a Scottish Civil War situation. And the truce card is best used in the 5th turn of the year prior to winter. Yeah, that makes sense. This is not something I would really want to use when I'm doing pretty well in the battle. But it's a decent jump. Yeah, it's hard to, people are asking us to be more specific. Like Arturo is asking us, so a faction can have a civil war. You know, it would take maybe an entirely different video, and we do plan, by the way, guys, I think you guys will enjoy, we do plan to do some historical videos for you guys on this game. This is much more complicated than just sort of like, good guys versus bad guys. It's a much more nuanced conflict, even amongst the nobles. So you can still have these very wealthy nobles that just decide they'd rather fight alongside the Bruce against the King of England. It's really what benefits them the most. So it's what benefits their pocket. It's what benefits, their family heritage, etc. For instance, the royalists at Badenoch, as we mentioned before, these guys have almost always been pro-English, despite being fairly high up here in the north of Scotland, in the Highlands almost. So what we're going to do, guys, I would typically send 3 to attack this army at Dundee, but we've got 2 very strong units here. We've got Douglas's infantry and Barclay's infantry, and they both have 4 chits. Unfortunately, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm fairly sure that these guys, oh, they do have a power of 3. I was going to say I'm pretty sure they don't hit on 3, but maybe they do. And to be absolutely safe, I'll bring Buchan in for this fight. That's right, Buchan can't move. Let's bring in... Mar or Athel? Mar's got that +1, so I'm going to bring in Mar. And let's hope that here at Angus we win. Oh no, the British are getting the first attack. First hit, they hit Barclay for 1. That's not what I was looking forward to at all. Alright, we got lucky on that. And the 3 is not going to hit us because, again, this is not a hero unit. We got very lucky right there. So let's go ahead. Let's fire. A 2 will be a hit. I don't believe the 3 will be a hit, but with that +1, he might be able to get a hit. And there we go. Angus is hit. Beautiful. Now, if we can knock these guys down to 0, then they will join our side. Well, at least Angus will. Durham and Northumbria, since these are an infantry unit and an infantry unit and an infantry unit, I thought this might be a knight unit, they will both respectively be destroyed. So let's go ahead. I'd really rather take him prisoner, but that may or may not be an option during this battle. Angus is going to run right off the field. He knows where his bread is buttered, and he knows that this battle is just not going the way he had it planned. So I think he's going to leave Durham and Northumbria behind to try and fight it out. They might go ahead and just leave the field, and that's exactly what they've done. Ran in terror. The British player and the British AI is very opportunistic in this game. So if they see that the situation no longer, favors them, if you're not able to get them with that dice roll, it's very, very likely that they're going to get the heck out of there. Thank you, Arturo Caballo. He says, Agrippa, please make a series of this game. We certainly will consider that. Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do, guys. We are just today going into early access. So, of course, we want your feedback. We want you to stop by. Tell us what you think. Tell us what we can improve, what you enjoy, etc. That always really, really helps. Now, I am going to actually send that Athel will have a bit of a stronger friend instead of just poor old Mar. No offense, Mar. But once we have the guys at Kildrummy, I'll see if we can go ahead and attack this army at Athel once again. And maybe what I'll try to do is attack sort of under strength, but with a unit with high chits. I'm thinking that if we do that, maybe the British won't be so quick to retreat. Unfortunately, if the British see there's any chance that they could lose, they are going to retreat immediately. All right, we can use the truce card. He said play it on turn 5, which is not at turn 5 yet. I'm going to go ahead and play my 1-move card. Now, what we'll do here, guys, is fairly soon here, we'll jump to the British perspective, so you guys get a perspective there as well. I do like Arturo Caballo's idea to do a full campaign with one of these great leaders, either Robert the Bruce or also William Wallace. So we've got 1 movement point. Oh, boy. Oh, you know what? Come on. No! It's not going to work. It's because of Lindsay. Alright, this is quite risky, but we're going to switch to the British side here pretty soon, so you guys get a look at the British before the end of the stream. Let's try an attack. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this attack, especially since we're sending our most valuable unit, the King of Scotland himself, into a battle, but it must be done. How's it going, History Guy Gaming? I'm glad you are, man. We'll make sure to send you a code over to the channel so you can check it out there. Angry, I'm not reading that second word, but, Agrippa, do you know if Block's Julius Caesar AI has been updated at all? That would be something to ask Grant here. I'm not aware. Again, I'm just the PR guy. I'm just the messenger here. All I do is deliver messages. That's it, pretty much. Okay, here we go, folks. So I'm hoping this will work. I think it's a risky fight, but it's okay. If we lose here, we'll move away quickly so that you don't see the shame of my defeat. Here we go. And the British are going to attack now. Now, they do have just 2 and 1 rolls. This is our chance to take Durham prisoner, although Durham is, once again, also an infantry unit, not a noble. If you're looking at, like, these just the English cross, these are typically just infantry units. It's still important to destroy them, but it's not as important to capture them, as it were. These units can be used to sort of, boost the strength of the actual hero on the field, and in this case, they don't want to get killed by our nobles. So there we go, moving over to Inverlochy. And it looks like right now, by my count, we've got 8 nobles on our side, whereas the British just have 5 nobles on theirs. Not exactly the greatest situation for the British, but things can change quite quickly. And as for regrouping our units from Athel, I'm happy with them right there. I'm going to go ahead and play the truce card. I believe we're almost at turn 5, and they're going for a pillage card. So essentially they're going to damage one of our unit stacks. Maybe it was the right time to use the truce, because they likely would have damaged that unit stack and then tried to get an actual attack going on it. Let's take a look here. Thank you, Grant. All right. So once we get to the turn 5 here, we'll jump into the British side. So you guys can get the perspective of the English player here. So let's jump into new game, and let's go ahead. Let's jump into the complete campaign. Now, we're just going to jump into the complete campaign to take a look at the English here. So let's switch over here. If you guys take a look at these icons, obviously the player lets you know that you are currently playing as this faction. Now, you can have a hot seat game with a friend. We've already mentioned that multiplayer does exist, but hot seat gaming exists as well. So if you guys just want to sit in front of the PC, each of you takes the, of course, human persona, and you go ahead and face each other. In this case, we want to play as the British, so we're going to jump right in and let the AI play as Scotland. And once again, we take a look, quite similar in terms of nobility. Now, we've got different nobles than the Scottish do, but just like the Scottish can, we can at any point bring one of those nobles over to our side. Now, he's played a 2 as well. We are going to be going first here, and I would love to take out Fife this early on in the fighting. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Mentis and Northumbria, and then I'm going to take Athol and go for Fife here. Now, that may not have been the greatest decision, because I'm fairly certain that William Wallace is sitting right there. And he's not the kind of guy you want to be facing right away, that's for sure. So let's attack. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with it. I kind of wish I hadn't made that move now, but that's quite normal in a board game where you make a move and you want to take it back, but it's too late. It's way too late to do that. So we're going to have to go ahead and fight. Of course, if we need to, we will retreat. We saw the British doing that a lot before, and yes, it is William Wallace. Oh my goodness. I can see why the British were retreating so much before. Look at this. Look at this. This is just brutality. I don't even think I can fight here. Yeah, I'm going to retreat. I'm just not even going to go through with it. And the reason being, this is a 4-chit character. He's also got the ability, like I said, to hit on 3s. And we've got Douglas and Barclay, also 4-chit infantry, just hanging out here. Unless we got extremely lucky, we're not winning this fight. Let's retreat. And they're going to get another hit here at Northumbria and probably take out the Northumbrian infantry. So there we go. The Northumbrian infantry has been destroyed. And if they're able to here, they will actually be able to take Athol prisoner. We got very lucky, though. They did not roll any 2s or 1s, but Wallace still might. So, oh, we got so lucky. A terrible roll by Wallace. Pretty much anything under a 3 and Wallace hits. That wasn't the case here. So I'm retreating with my tail between my legs to get off this field as quickly as possible. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send them both to Angus. Build up a bit of a sort of an army here, although we'll need a stronger army to take on Wallace, that's for sure. It's not Hollywood. You know, we're definitely going to need a stronger army if we want to put a fight up to Wallace. Yeah, so that's an interesting question. No, we aren't doing anything with Ireland, although it is, yeah, there we go. I believe Avalon Digital mentioned it. It's just pretty. We like to have it here as a sort of reminder. But again, this is why I highly recommend, guys, and I'm hoping that either Grant or Philippe from Avalon can put the link in the chat of the early access. If you guys are unable to, just send me a Skype message and I'll put it there. Because we want you guys to get into the discussion forums. Let us know what you think, like I said. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you would like to see improved, etc. We're also using an older version of the game here, as mentioned by Avalon. So what we'll try to do here, and we've got a few people asking for a campaign, is we'll come back to this next week. We'll play with the newest version of the game, the actual early access version, and we'll see if we can't go ahead and start a campaign from the beginning, just see where it takes us. Yeah, that's the one, Dave. Let me actually put it here. I don't think anybody's going to be able to post it. Unfortunately, YouTube is quite complicated about that. All right, let's copy the URL here. So guys, please do check out this page. We should be releasing this quite soon. Although, we don't know 100% when we're going to be releasing this. Unfortunately, Steam can be a little finicky with their release schedules. So we'll have to see whether it's today, might be tomorrow, but make sure to check out the page. All right, let's move one group. Wait, I can't use a Scottish accent here. It's unacceptable. Now, I think I want to try and help my guys out at Dundee. The Scottish are only sending 2 nobles here. I'm guessing one of them is going to be Wallace, of course. And let's see if we can't beat him at Dundee, beat him at his own game. So it's actually just Douglas. Let's keep fighting. Oh, this is for Lanark. This is more to the south, and this is actually just 1 against 1. I think for sure we're going to have to retreat from this battle, but losing Lanark isn't something I look forward to. And as you can see, just like occasionally Wallace has that ability to hit with the power of 3, this guy also has a power of 3. Despite just being a standard infantry unit, he can absolutely bring the pain to the battlefield. There's no doubt about it. So we want to keep our eyes on Douglas. Now, as for our units at Lanark, best thing to do is move them to Lothian. Let's wait for the opponent here, and are they going to fight? Yes, they are. William Wallace and Barclay. 2 hits right away. Man, that's rough. We do have a reserve of Mar, but if we've learned anything about Mar, look at the traitor. Don't you guys remember that when we were playing with the Scots, he was fighting with us? You see how things change quite a lot when it comes to Scottish politics during this time period? It was very easy for a noble to change sides. Pretty much depended on which side his bread was buttered, on which noble treated him best, on what familial connections he might have to that noble family, etc. And Mar is a good example of that. Again, starting with the Scottish, but eventually giving his sword, or his hammer, to the English. Just disgraceful. And once again, Barclay is going to get a hit here. Since he's on that 3 tier, he's going to get only 3 rolls, so they're not as dangerous as they were when they came on the field here. But Wallace with that 3-hitter, look at that. Oh, man. Getting us back down to 2 rolls. Now, since we have so many rolls here, I am going to continue the battle. Although I wouldn't recommend you to do that, because as you can see, that's a miss by Angus. Let's see if Aethel has a better shot. Aethel's going to get 1 hit. And how incredible would it be if we could take Wallace and actually make him a prisoner of the English? Or actually make him an English noble. And yes, you can do that, from my understanding. Let's go with Mar. I'm hoping we just get a really good roll here. Not quite. Not quite. And I think Wallace and Barclay will probably retreat, but I could be wrong. And look at that. They're continuing to fight. So we already see a difference here in sort of the AI of the Scottish versus the AI of the English. As we can see, the Scottish are not going to back down from a fight very easily. Here we go. I believe we're going to take Wallace captive soon. I hope so. We hit Wallace for 1. If we get 1 more hit... Oh, yes. Oh, why did he go for Barclay? Come on, guys. Come on. I really want to take Wallace captive here. Oh, yes. So in Wallace's case, I guess he's so noble and so conjoined with the Scottish cause of independence that he refuses to join us. He's simply removed from the field. But I love that. So despite this actual stream being called Braveheart, we ended up playing a somewhat older version of the game and killing Braveheart in the process. I hope you guys appreciate that. We are very sorry for killing William Wallace, but this just goes to show you the nature of the game and how you can move around, do any number of different things, really approach the Scottish War of Independence in your own way. You don't have to have these doom stacks that I'm creating. Maybe you feel more comfortable just taking stronger armies, for instance, a 4-chit army and a 3-chit army, and moving those around so that you know for sure you're going to get into a fight. There's just so many different ways to approach this game, and as Grant mentioned earlier, the conflicts of William Wallace and Robert the Bruce are somewhat different conflicts as well. So if we jump over here to the Hammer of the Scots page and jump into New Game, we've got, of course, the Braveheart conflict, which is 1297 AD to 1305 AD. The complete campaign is 1297 to 1314, and the Bruce 1306 to 1314. Now, each of these campaigns has a different length, of course. If you want to get the full version, really just everything in one, then go ahead and play from the complete campaign. I also wanted to mention, as I did see some issues with a previous game here regarding multiplayer, that with Hammer of the Scots, we've got a nice multiplayer lobby here. You can create a game with friends. You can join a game that friends have created. All of that is within your control. So absolutely something that you can do here once we're moving forward. But what I would say is that as of right now, and I'm not sure this is going to change, you must have the Steam version of the game to be able to get that multiplayer feature. So again, another reason why you shouldn't go out and download free versions of any games. That being said, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this look here at Hammer of the Scots. What we'd like to do in the future, some people here have mentioned a campaign. Maybe we'll end up putting an actual William Wallace campaign here on the channel. Maybe what we'll do instead is come back next week, and me and the developers of Hammer of the Scots are going to be doing a versus game. So trying to do a kind of head-to-head to see who can come out on top. I think it'll be fun, and it's probably going to be Grant Dalgish here that's going to be facing me. I'm pretty sure that I will take the Scottish and give him a bit of a challenge, since he knows the game a little bit better than I do. Not a problem, guys. It's my pleasure. And again, like I said, this is the reason we had those bugs initially with the end game at turn 5 is because this is a very early version of the game, kind of just giving you a perspective. We'll come back with a fully rounded campaign here on a live stream. Thank you, Dave, for showing up. And Grant says, I'm up for that, Agrippa, so he's ready to lose to Scotland, is what he's been telling me. He's prepared to lose to Scotland. Now, I'm sure Grant will clean my clock. Nonetheless, I think you guys will be looking forward to that. So just like we did for this stream, I will put up a reminder somewhere in the midpoint of this week to decide whether we're going to do it like Monday or Wednesday or something like that. Thank you again, guys. Don't forget to check out the page for Hammer of the Scots. It's well worth it. And like I said, we're just now going into early access. We need you guys. We need the community to help us create the greatest game out there, the greatest board game out there. And I know you guys can help us with that. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Freedom!